Hi there. My name is Mia. I go by Madcap Mia on most social media platforms. And I am a disabled, unemployed veteran with way too much time on their hands. But that's only part of my backstory. The other part of my backstory is I am the eldest millennial liberal daughter who grew up in a family that worshiped Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, and Bill O'Reilly. Politics has always been a big part of my life. Before I ran away and joined the military, I was in a solid conservative bubble. I know my siblings are going to watch this and they can back me up on this. We all grew up in a very controlling environment where critical thinking was not allowed. One of the main sayings that was said in my household was, "This is not a democracy, this is a dictatorship." I didn't know how fucked that was until I started going to therapy. But another thing that was a big part of my life was music. Of the memories I have growing up, we basically ate out almost every Friday. And we went to this place called Frontera. We would listen to boring politics radio on the way to the restaurant. My parents would order a pitcher of margaritas. They would drink all of it, and then we would listen to music all the way home. And when we got home, we would blast the music as loud as we could, and we would all dance in the living room. I know it sounds lame, but music was one of the few things that we bonded over. Now, once again, I grew up in a very controlling household. So I was only allowed to listen to certain things. When I joined the military was when I finally was able to broaden my horizons. Now, normally I would be posting some kind of cat short or some kind of "I'm angry at politics today" short, or a video game video or short. But I have been very unmotivated to edit this last one. I am about halfway through it, and I've already taken 2 weeks for it. Oops. What I decided to do was, fuck it, give myself another week, and I would upload a rant instead. Because anybody that knows me will tell you I can go on forever if I'm passionate about something. There are specifically 2 musicians that I want to talk about today. One was a big influence on my life. He has been and will always be one of my favorite artists of all time. The second person is someone whose name I'm ashamed that I only learned recently. And when I say recently, I mean 2 days ago. Specifically, I wanted to talk about how these 2 musicians have something in common. One of their songs has been used by conservative media as a patriotic theme, when it is not that at all. The artists and songs I'm referring to are Bruce Springsteen and his song "Born in the USA," and Woodie Guthrie and his song "This Land Is Your Land." Now, I grew up with Bruce Springsteen, specifically the albums "Born in the USA" and "Into the Fire." Both of those albums being about pretty bad things that have happened in America. Bruce Springsteen's album, "Born in the USA," is a narrative about American culture post-Vietnam War. And it's not exactly pleasant. Great album, great songs. But if you actually listen to the words, the second album that was mostly played when I was growing up was his album about 9/11, which told different stories of different heroes and different people just surviving. Specifically, looking back on it, the one I remember the most, which is "Into the Fire," it's about firefighters going up into the Twin Towers and not coming back. Beautiful album. Both of them are great albums. If you've never heard them, I highly suggest listening to them. "Born in the USA" is one of those songs that's pretty misunderstood by the people mostly listening to it. "Born in the USA" is used as an American anthem about how great America is. And in my opinion, that's because they're only focusing on the chorus, which is even funnier to say because literally the chorus is "Born in the USA" said over and over and over again. That's the only part of the song that they're focusing on. They don't pay attention to the rest of the song, which is a critique of American society from the point of view of a Vietnam War vet who's come home. They don't pay attention to down in the shadow of the penitentiary, out by the gas fires of the refinery. I'm 10 years burning down the road, nowhere to run, ain't nowhere to go. They just pay attention to Born in the USA. That's it. I'm not gonna lie. For most of my life, I was in that same boat, but at the same time, I was a fucking child. Singing the lyrics even though I didn't understand what they meant. Like, Born in the USA is one of Bruce Springsteen's most famous songs, yet it's one that he hardly plays. I remember my mom talking about how he never plays Born in the USA anymore because he got butthurt because Reagan played it during his campaign when he was running for president in 1984. As a literal child, I just, it's my mother. Her word is law. This is not a democracy. It's a dictatorship. She is always right. But looking at it as an adult now, no shit, he doesn't play it. The song has been taken and made a patriotic anthem when it is the complete opposite of that. Now, thinking about Bruce Springsteen going viral for talking about Trump in one of his shows overseas, it got me thinking about everything that conservatives take and rewrite in their own vision. The second artist I wanted to talk about is Woodie Guthrie. I didn't know who this person was until 2 days ago, even though I definitely sang "This Land Is Your Land" all through school, which is pretty sad because now looking him up, he was actually a big influence on folk music, and he was kind of punk too. It's pretty awesome. One of the people inspired by his work was Bruce Springsteen. Now, this is an overview straight off of Wikipedia, but Woodrow Wilson Guthrie, Woodie Guthrie, was an American singer, songwriter, and activist.
What?
The guy who wrote "This Land Is Your Land," the patriotic song that we had to sing in school, if you're an American like me, at least once a year, was an activist. He's considered a Depression-era icon and one of the most influential figures in American folk music. His work incorporated political commentary and addressed complex topics like human rights, economic equality, and democracy through simple songs that resonated with Americans. So over the past 2 days, while I've been going down this rabbit hole, it got me thinking, what is so controversial about "This Land Is Your Land"? It went straight over my head. Turns out there are 2 verses that are cut out of the school version of "This Land Is Your Land." And with those 2 verses back in, you can see the song for what it actually is. Now, without those 2 verses, "This Land Is Your Land" just seems like, oh, America is pretty. But with those 2 verses put back into it, it turns the song into an anti-capitalist anthem. The 2 verses that were left out are, "As I went walking, I saw a sign there, and on the sign, it said no trespassing. But on the other side, it didn't say nothing. This land was made for you and me." The second verse being, "In the shadow of the steeple, I saw my people. By the relief office, I seen my people. As they stood there hungry, I stood there asking, is this land made for you and me?" Talking about wealth disparagement, the difference between the rich and the poor. We have signs that say no trespassing because people bought this land, and yet you see people at the relief office who were hungry. So if those 2 verses aren't enough to convince you that Woodie Guthrie was actually an anti-capitalist hippie legend, maybe some of his other song titles will. Songs such as "Tear the Fascists Down," "I Ain't Got No Home in This World Anymore," and "Old Man Trump." That's right. He wrote about the racist practices of his Brooklyn landlord, Fred C. Trump. Boy, does the racist apple not fall far from the racist tree. Now, I could keep going and going and going, but my goal is to get this posted tonight so that I at least have one new video this week while I once again procrastinate on my video gaming. My Mass Effect video game run. Editing it anyway. Now, this was my first time recording a video like this, like in length. I've done TikToks criticizing certain parts of American society on politics, but I haven't sat down and made a whole video out of it with a cat behind me the entire time. If you have a different opinion or think of another example where this is true, I would love to hear it in the comments below. I may make another video like this, I may not. We'll see what happens. Have a good day.